Yo, what's happening, y'all? It's your man Valentine, baby. Coming to you from on the grind. Yo, you know what time it is, man? It's sunny in Van City, y'all. Can you imagine? It's still sunny. So you know what I gotta do. It goes down like this here. Outside. Home edition, baby. We had to handle it like that. Yo, man. Today, I'm gonna give y'all a little something to think about. And today, I found this out, and I found this to be rather strange, and how this is actually still happening, and actually in Van City. Can you imagine? This is still happening, and yes, we're still going through a pandemic. School is getting ready to begin. But the things that we still going through as black people, indigenous people, anybody of color. I was dumbfounded by when I found this out, or when I even heard this one. And somehow it was just in passing that I heard it, but I had to look at it again. And what it was, we know the socioeconomic status of certain people isn't as good as it's supposed to be, and yet there is something in the real estate. I think it's it's British Properties. I don't know if it's British Properties. I think it was, and that they have a clause in their real estate guide or whatever it is, that you cannot sell, or black people or Chinese people or indigenous people cannot buy property in this place. They are not allowed to sell any property to black, Chinese, or indigenous people. And they also have the same clause in the United States, in certain parts in the South, and maybe even all over across North America and across the United States. But I'm not sure where it is. But this one, there's I don't know the man's name who's trying to revoke this act in the real estate selling, whatever it is, because you want to sell property to only white people? Really? How is that? How do you have an act like that? This is must have been from way back in the day when slavery wasn't abolished yet in the British colonies. And somehow they wrote it in to their real estate book. Unbelievable. And I hope this man gets this changed, because I don't believe that. I think anybody should be able to buy property wherever it is. If they can afford it, they should be able to buy it. But yet you're saying that you cannot sell to black people or Chinese people or indigenous people. That is a joke. And anybody who's selling real estate should give their head a shake if they even put that clause into their selling contract. I mean, come on, man. Unbelievable. And then I heard the next thing was, I know Michael Brown, I think I said this before, that they're not going to charge the dude that shot the man. This is in 2014. That's still going on. Breonna Taylor. The officers who shot her haven't been arrested except for one dude. You know what I mean? And it's becoming just ridiculous. I mean, you had my man shoot Trayvon Martin, and yet he got away with it. This is becoming just too familiar, man. Now, but I don't know, man. I just got to move on because the fact that we still have institutionalized racism going on and systemic racism going on and then socioeconomic racism going on and police brutality, and they're still looking to amend the stop and search or stop and frisk in September. And this is what I keep saying. Why does it take so long for people to understand that you cannot treat people like they're second-class citizens or lowlifes? You cannot treat people this way. You have to treat people with compassion, empathy. You feel what I'm saying? You gotta treat them with respect. And black people have been fighting for 400 years for equality, social equality, racial equality, racial justice. You know what I mean? This is unbelievable to me. It's still going on. And yet it's so hard for people to understand. And this breaks me into where I look at, if you're an athlete in basketball, the WNBA. I mean, certain people, I mean, in basketball, Donovan Mitchell wore a bulletproof vest to one of these interviews, and he said to all the reporters, "Hey, listen, you know what? What if I take this off right now? Who do you see?" You see? And the fact he did that, you still see the black player. And you still see the racial inequality. You know what I mean? You're looking for social justice. And if you're a hockey player, you know, you got Reeves and Dumba, and what if they take the jersey off? Who do you see? You still see that black player. But yet, once they're not on the ice or on the court, guess what? They're still treated, you still get police brutality. You still get pulled over for no reason. You feel what I'm saying? You're in the WNBA. You see the WNBA players. You see a football player. I mean, you see, it doesn't matter if it's Jerry Rice. Once Jerry Rice takes off the uniform, he's a human. But yet, no, what do we see? We see him as a black player. And there's still the racial inequality. You know what I mean? The racial injustice. Police brutality. He gets pulled over, pulled out the car, arrested. And who knows? Sometimes you don't make it home. You know what I mean? And it's unbelievable, man. I mean, Bubba Wallace is a NASCAR. He's a NASCAR guy. He's the only one in NASCAR. Right? And once he gets out the car, he's not racing anymore. He's just Bubba Wallace, another human being. Nope. Don't see that either. See the color of his skin. Yeah, I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton. I think he's the only one in Formula One. Lewis comes out of a Mercedes car. Who do you see? Unless he's in his if he has a helmet on and his coveralls, you see the driver. You see, everybody sees the driver, right? As soon as Lewis takes his helmet off, takes the coveralls off, you see the color of his skin. You see what I'm saying? Why is it you can't look at somebody the same way you look at them if they have a uniform on? But yeah, you got to look at them differently because of the color of their skin. And yet, any white player that takes off his jersey or uniform in the car or the helmet, you see them as that person, as a person. So think about what every black athlete goes through when you see them as the athlete on the court, but yet off the court, you just see them as somebody who's ignorant. that irritates me. We want to see everybody as an individual, as a human being. Everyone is a human. We bleed the same. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I truly don't get it. I walk out my house. You don't see the human being. You see a black person walking out this house. We need, man. Racial equality should not be that hard. It shouldn't be this hard for people to fathom that everyone wants to be treated equally. And this is what all the civil rights movement people, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, even though sometimes they didn't see eye to eye, you know, John Lewis, Medgar Evers, Thurgood Marshall, all these people were fighting for the same thing. Even Reverend Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, even anyone who's come along in the Black Lives Matter movement right now. Everyone is fighting for racial equality, the social justice, police reform, social reform, stopping the oppression of black people, the social economic disparity in the black ghettos, trying to help black people buy a house, get a house. Indigenous people getting treated fairly as well. This is why the civil rights movement happened. And voter rights. And yet we're still fighting for that right now. I mean, John Lewis just died. And yet he's been fighting for this for over his entire life of 30 years, 40 years of being a congressman, you know, and even before that, as a 16-year-old. So, people, it is not that hard, man. You need to, I'm not sure how many times I got to say that you need to get yourself educated, or you need to listen to what people are saying to you to make sure that you understand what is going on. And if you don't, find somebody that can help you and educate you with the movement that's going on, because black lives do matter. And this movement isn't going to stop. So remember, once I get off this camera and I set it down, you know what? You'll see me as a human, not just a black person, but a human being. You feel what I'm saying? So, wow, you know, yeah, man. You know what? I'm done. I can't even go anymore because I got nothing. So, y'all gotta understand, we still going through a pandemic. And remember, all you people that are getting ready to go back to school, hey, nobody knows if you have the virus or not. So I'm thinking y'all got to do what you got to do. If you're going to send your kids back to school, make sure they're wearing a mask and have hand sanitizer and teach them social distance at home so they know what it is. So this way everyone can stay safe, so they don't bring the virus back home to you. You feel what I'm saying? So do what you got to do, people. Everyone on the buses, transit, whatever, wear a mask. And try to social distance. Yo, you know what it is, man. I'm your man Valentine, baby. If you think it's your time to shine, you need to get on the ground with your man Valentine.